Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. We have some news, really not much at all today, but there was something that has just been revealed that I was really quite excited about from Mattel, and a few other news stories that I actually have not covered yet, so let's go ahead and get straight to it. The very first thing that I want to show you guys is actually two other upcoming figures from Mojo Fun for their 2020 line. When I was covering the Mojo Fun releases, I assumed they were done after my last video, but they actually weren't, and they have since released two other images of new figures that will be coming out for their 2020 line, and I actually just realized I completely forgot to cover that, so here we are. The very first one is a brand new Baryonyx, and I know what you're thinking, didn't they just release another Baryonyx for their 2020 line? Well, they did, but they're actually releasing two. They have the very cool greenish one, and now they have this yellowish version, which this yellowish version looks very similar to the blue version they released a few years ago, but I think it also has a slightly different appearance, but overall the pose and everything looks very, very similar to that previous version. However, I still think it's a really nice looking version of a Baryonyx. And they are also going to be releasing another new Triceratops. They actually just released a Triceratops, I think it was last year, but this one looks very similar to that one as far as the sculpt goes, and I think that one was a pretty big hit for Mojo Fun, so why would they not capitalize on that? Release another version of this Triceratops that does look quite similar to the previous version, but again, somewhat different at the same time, which me personally I think is awesome because now it gives you a mating pair or just another version of the Triceratops to go in that herd. Regardless, I think it looks absolutely phenomenal as far as a Triceratops figure goes, and I am really excited to get my hands on both of these. Then as far as Chronicle Collectibles goes, anybody that may have been interested in purchasing their gigantic 1/5 scale Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus Rex, a few customers have actually started to receive theirs, so I have some images of the actual factory released version in the hands of the customers, and of course the sculpt is just absolutely amazing. Being a Stan Winston sculpt as far as a Jurassic Park Rex, you really won't find any better as far as a sculpt goes. But one thing that I was really quite interested in, and that would be the paint job released from Chronicle, because we know a lot of the time the paint jobs on Chronicle pieces actually end up being pretty bad in comparison to their promotional images, but I really think that Chronicle has actually stepped it up a bit when it comes to this release, and the overall paint scheme of it and the overall paint application for the most part looks pretty good. It's again not quite as good as the original prototype, but I really think that they did do a pretty decent job, and it does appear that maybe Chronicle is heading in the right direction as far as their paint applications go. I do believe you can still purchase this Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it's like $4,500, so it's a pretty hefty price tag, but if you can afford it, it's probably the collectible of a lifetime if you're a Jurassic fan. Memory Museum has actually just recently released a few more images of their current release of the hippopotamus, but at the same time they've released images showing some of the other releases coming out in the background there, and anytime I get a few new images of their upcoming Dilophosaurus, I am 100% in because I cannot wait for that release. It's one of my most anticipated releases, not only from Memory Museum, but of the year in general from any company. I'm really psyched for that Dilophosaurus, and you can also see, of course, a mammal over there on the left. You've got a crocodile, along with an early man, and then, of course, the Smilodon hippo and rhino that are already released. But I did want to show you guys these images just so you can get another sneak peek of a few of the other releases that are coming out from Memory Museum very soon. Then as far as Mattel goes, Jason Sullivan on YouTube actually pointed something out that was really quite interesting to me, and even though this image isn't new or groundbreaking or anything, it's something that I thought was definitely interesting enough to bring up as I posed the question of what was going on with the Destructosaur Dimetrodon in my last news video. He actually pointed out that there was an inbox image of that Dimetrodon released at one point in time, and you can see here the image was released by Jurassic Unboxing, but the fact that this Dimetrodon was actually out there in box, that really gives me hope that this figure was definitely released somewhere, or maybe was produced but never actually sold or released. Maybe it's on hold somewhere, as the Mattel team recently informed my friend Hatbox Ghost that they were released internationally or were about to be released. I'm not sure which for sure, But again, Jason Sullivan pointing out the fact that there was an in-box image really gives me hope that this Dimetrodon will definitely see the light of day. The question is just when. I really don't feel like Mattel will go through the trouble of creating all of these figures, actually boxing them up and everything, and then just not selling them. So there is hope that it is released somewhere. The problem is just figuring out where or when it will be released. And the final thing I want to show you guys from Mattel is actually the brand new upcoming Albertosaurus, because we have previously had an Albertosaurus release, but they are going to re-release the figure again with a new paint scheme, and we were all really quite interested to see what that paint scheme would look like. Well, we now officially have images of it, and I actually really quite like it. I really would not expect such a light bluish green type color to work so well on a big theropod like this, and even the wonderful use of that yellow striping down the body actually looks really cool in my opinion, and I am extremely excited to get a hold of this Albertosaurus. I feel like the flashier color scheme on this as opposed to the darker color scheme of the previous version makes this maybe potentially a male version, so it'll be really cool to have basically a mating pair as far as the Albertosaurus goes. But I'm really quite psyched about this new version of the Albertosaurus coming out. Unfortunately, we have no details as to when it will come out, but we do have these images to take a look at and drool over a little bit if you are like me and you cannot wait to get a hold of this awesome looking Albertosaurus from Mattel. So as of right now, guys, that's all the news I've got. When more comes out, I'll be sure to send it your way, but until then, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.